y'all, it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my March anticipated releases. And there's a lot. I'll just put the pictures here. First is a sequel, so I'm not going to read a synopsis, but The Book of Stolen Time by Dashka Slater. Comes out March 1st. And this is book 2. I absolutely love the first book. I think it's called The Book of Fatal Errors. And I actually won a copy of this on Goodreads, a giveaway, so I'm very happy about that. And that's a US book. And also a US book on March 1st is Kelcie Murphy and the Academy for the Unbreakable Arts by Erika Lewis. And I had gotten an advanced reader's copy of this early, so I have a review up. I absolutely love this book. It was one of my top 14 favorites of last year. I absolutely loved it. The other world is at war. The Academy for Unbreakable Arts trains warriors, and Kelcie Murphy, a foster child raised in the human world, is dying to attend. A place at AUA means meeting Skathach, a legendary trainer of Celtic heroes. It means learning to fight with a sword. It means harnessing her hidden powers, and most importantly, finding out who her parents are and why they abandoned her in Boston Harbor 8 years ago. When Kelcie tests into the school, she learns that she's a Saga, one of the most ancient beings in the otherworld. Secretive, shunned, and possessed of imposing elemental powers, the Saga are also kin to the otherworld's most infamous traitor. But Kelcie is a survivor, and she'll do whatever it takes to find her parents and her place in the world, even if that means making a few enemies. Such a good book. Can't wait to have a beautiful finished copy. Also on March 1st, and also a US release, The School for Whatnots by Margaret Peterson Haddix. Very excited about this. No matter what anyone tells you, I'm real. That's what the note says that Max finds under his keyboard. He knows that his best friend Josie wrote it. He knows her handwriting anywhere. But why she wrote it and what it means remains a mystery. Ever since they met in kindergarten, Max and Josie have been inseparable. Until the summer after 5th grade, when Josie disappears, leaving only a note and whispering something about whatnot rules. But why would Max ever think that Josie wasn't real? And what are whatnots? As Max sets to uncover what happened to Josie and what she is or isn't, what little does he know that she's fighting to find him again too. But there are forces trying to keep Max and Josie from ever seeing each other again, because Josie wasn't supposed to be real. So intrigued by this. I cannot wait to read this, and I have quite a few of her books, and I've always heard the best things, so very excited, and a beautiful cover. Also on March 1st, and also a US release, Wingbearer by Marjorie, and this is a graphic novel. Zuli is extraordinary. She just doesn't realize it yet. Raised by mythical bird spirits in the branches of the great tree, she's never ventured beyond this safe haven. She's never had to, until now. When a sinister force threatens the life-giving magic of the tree, Zuli, along with her guardian owl, Frowley, must get to the root of it. So begins the adventure bigger than anything Zuli could have ever imagined. One that will bring her, along with some newfound friends, face to face with an ancient dragon, the so-called Witch Queen, and the most surprisingly of all, her true identity. Very excited, and the art looks beautiful. Also on March 1st, another US release, Pilar, Ramirez and the Escape from Zafa by Julian Randall. Beautiful cover. 12-year-old Pilar Violeta Perp Ramirez's world is changing, and she doesn't care for it one bit. Her Chicago neighborhood is gentrifying, and her chores have doubled since her sister, Lorena, left for college. The only constant is Abuela and Mammy's code of silence around her cousin Natasha, who vanished in the Dominican Republic 50 years ago during the Trujillo dictatorship. When Pilar hears that Lorena's professor studies such disappearances, she hops on the next train to dig deeper into her family's mystery. After snooping around the professor's empty office, she discovers a folder with her cousin's name on it, and gets sucked into the blank page within. She lands on Zafa, an island swarming with coconut-shaped demons, butterfly shapeshifters, and a sinister magical prison where her cousin is being held captive. Pilar will have to go toe-to-toe with the fearsome Dominican boogeyman, El Cuco. I think I'm saying that right. If she has any hope of freeing Natasha and getting back home. This just sounds incredible. Very intrigued. And I'm just so excited for this. Can't wait. A lot of March 1st. Another March 1st US release, Over and Out by Jenni L. Walsh. Sophie has spent her entire life behind the Berlin Wall, guarded by landmines, towers, and attack dogs. A science lover, Sophie dreams of becoming an inventor, but that's unlikely in East Berlin, where the Stasi, the secret police, are always watching. Though she tries to avoid their notice, when her beloved neighbor is arrested, Sophie is called to her principal's office. There, a young Stasi officer asks Sophie if she'll spy on her neighbor after she is released. Sophie doesn't want to agree, but in reality has no choice. The Stasi threaten to bring her mother, who has a disability from post-polio syndrome, to an institution if Sophie does not comply. Sophie is backed into a corner until she finds out for the first time that she has family on the other side of the wall in the West. This could be what she needs to attempt an escape with her mother to freedom, if she can invent her way out. Accessible story of a young girl from Cold War East Berlin who was forced to spy for the secret police but is determined to escape to freedom. Sounds so incredible, like an amazing story. You don't see many stories about the Berlin Wall and all of that, and so it just sounds very important. Also on March 1st, a U.S. released The Grave Thief by D. Hahn, and the author actually sent me a copy of this to read and review, and I'm so excited. I'm currently reading it now, and I'm loving it. Stunning cover. 12-year-old Spade is a grave thief. With his father and brother, he digs up the recently deceased to steal jewels, the main form of trade in Windhill. Digging graves works for Spade. Alone in the graveyard at night, no one notices his limp or calls him names. He's headed for a lifetime of theft when his father comes up with an audacious plan to rob a grave in the Windhill Castle Cemetery. Spade and his brother get caught in a royal trap, and Spade must find the master of the Wogan, a deadly creature that is stalking the castle by night. Along the way, he meets Ember, the queen's niece, and together they race to solve the mystery of the legendary Deepstones and their connection to the Wogan, the queen, a missing king, and the mysterious pebble Spade finds in the Windhill Cemetery. This is a fantastic story of friendship, bravery, grief, and acceptance. And it says a 12-year-old grave thief gets caught up in a royal heist in this compelling middle grade fantasy in the vein of Kelly Armstrong's A Royal Guide to Monster Slaying. So excited. Also on March 1st, again, U.S. New from Here by Kelly Yang. When the coronavirus hits Hong Kong, 10-year-old Knox Wei Evans' mom makes the last-minute decision to move him and his siblings back to California, where they think they will be safe. Suddenly, Knox has 2 days to prepare for an international move and for leaving his dad, who has to stay for work. At his new school in California, Knox struggles with being the new kid. His classmates think that because he's from Asia, he must have brought over the virus. At home, Mom just got fired and is panicking over the loss of health insurance. And Dad doesn't even know when he'll see them again, since the flights have been canceled. And everyone's struggling with Knox's blurting things out problem. As racism skyrockets during COVID-19, Knox tries to stand up to hate while finding his place in his new country. Can you belong if you're feared? Can you protect if you're new? And how do you keep a family together when you're oceans apart? Sometimes when the world is spinning out of control, the best way to get through it is to embrace our own lovable uniqueness. I have the first 2 books in the Front Desk series. I didn't get the rest until I read the first 2. But I always hear the best things about her writing, and this just sounds like such an important read and very relatable, I'm sure, to so many kids. It'll help them so much, because you hear that all the time about this happening to Asian Americans, being blamed, and it's just so ignorant. So I'm very excited for this. Also on March 1st, and also a U.S. release, Secret of the Storm by Beth McMullen. 12-year-old Cassie King's father always told her the universe was on her side. All she had to do was work hard and things would work out. But then Cassie's father died, her mom retreated into herself, and her best friend traded her in for the popular crowd at school. The only thing Cassie still has is the volunteer work she does at the local library, a place where she can leave her troubles behind. Unfortunately, classmate and school outcast Joe Robinson is always there doing the same thing. One day, while Cassie and Joe are leaving the library, a bizarre storm hits, trapping them in a narrow alley. In the storm's aftermath, Cassie discovers a bedraggled little kitten abandoned in a smelly dumpster. Cassie feels an immediate connection to the kitten and takes him home. But the kitten, who Cassie names Albert, is a little odd, with impossible strength and agility for a creature his size. At one point, Cassie swears she sees plumes of smoke rising from his water bowl, and one afternoon, while Albert is alone in her room, a strange symbol appears on the closet door. With new friend Joe's help, Cassie figures out the symbol is a map. But a map to what? The friends soon discover that Albert is much more than he appears and is in grave danger. He needs Cassie's help in ways she never could have imagined. Keeping him safe is the first thing Cassie has believed in for a long time. But is she strong enough to face down a sinister enemy, moving even closer, and protect everything she loves? So intrigued by this. This synopsis has me so excited. Beautiful cover. I have several books by this author, and I just can't wait. Again on March 1st, and again U.S. It's a graphic novel adaptation of Anne of Green Gables. It's like a retelling, Anne of West Philly by Ivy Noel Ware. When Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert decide to foster a teenage girl for the first time, their lives are changed forever. The red-headed foster daughter, Anne Shirley, is in search of an exciting life and has decided that West Philly is where she's going to find it. Armed with a big personality and unstoppable creativity, Anne takes her new home by storm as she joins the robotics club, makes new friends, and Diana and Gilbert experiences first love and turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. But as Anne starts to get comfortable, she discovers one thing she wasn't looking for: a family. Anne of Green Gables with a twist. In this follow-up to Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy and The Secret Garden on 81st Street, this full-color graphic novel moves Anne Shirley to modern-day West Philadelphia, where she finds new friends, new rivals, and a new family. Very excited, and the art looks beautiful. I'll probably read Anne of Green Gables before I do that, because I don't, unless I read it when I was young and I don't remember. I've never read Anne of Green Gables, so I want to read that first and see how it compares. Also on March 1st, it's going to be a very expensive day. And also in the US, Drew LeClaire Gets a Clue by Katrin Burry. Drew LeClaire knows what it takes to be a great detective. She's pored over the cases solved by her hero, criminal profiler Lita Miyamoto. She tracked down the graffiti artist at school and even solved the mystery of her neighbor's missing rabbit. But when her mother runs off to Hawaii with the school guidance counselor, Drew is shocked. How did she miss all the clues? Drew is determined to keep her family life a secret, even from her best friend. But when a cyber bully starts posting embarrassing rumors about the other students at school, it's only a matter of time before Drew's secret is out. Armed with her notebooks full of observations about her classmates, Drew knows what she has to do: profile all of the bullies in her grade to find the culprit. But being a detective is more complicated when the suspects can be your friends. Will Drew crack the case if it means losing the people she cares about most? It says, in this modern take on Harriet the Spy, 12-year-old Drew uses her true crime expertise to catch the cyberbully in her school, only to discover that family, friendship, and identity are the hardest mysteries to solve. Again, never read Harriet the Spy unless I did when I was little, so I might read that first. But detective mystery, right up my alley. That sounds like some important topics. Sounds like a very awful mother. So I'm very excited about this. Also March 1st in the US, another graphic novel, The Aquanaut by Dan Santat. Dive into this whimsically adventurous graphic novel from Caldecott-winning author, illustrator Dan Santat. Ever since her father was lost at sea, Sophia has been moping around Aqualand, a marine theme park. But Sophia's world is turned upside down when an Aquanaut breaks into the park's research lab. To her amazement, Sophia discovers that the Aquanaut is not what it seems. Inside lives a band of goofy sea creatures, and when they all realize that Aqualand is more sinister than advertised, Sophia is determined to help the Aquanaut crew free the park's captive marine life before it's too late. Very excited for this, and very intrigued, and the art is just beautiful, so very excited. Also on March 1st in the US, The Legend of Brightblade by Ethan M. Allridge, another graphic novel. Young Prince Alto dreams of being a hero like his mother, the Lady Brightblade. Her well-known legend was woven into stories by the magical bard who fought by her side. The kingdom may be at peace now, but also believes that the world still needs heroes. He has been learning the bard's magic and has grown restless with royal life. Determined to have an adventure of his own, Alto runs away from the palace. On his journey, he finds himself making new friends and encountering new and exciting magic. But when he discovers that there are dangers threatening the kingdom, Alto realizes that he might not be able to handle them alone, and making his mark as a hero is harder than the stories made it seem. And it says, a young prince must learn to be his own kind of hero in this standalone graphic novel from the acclaimed creator of the Estranged duology. Perfect for fans of the Amulet series and the Witch Boy. So excited, and it's so beautiful. And then on March 2nd, so we're away from March 1st finally. And this is a UK, no, I think this is an Australian release. I absolutely love the first book, The Orchard Underground, and it's by Matt Larkin. And this is supposed to be the prequel to that, so I'm very excited. And it's called The Chameleon Thief, like I said, by Matt Larkin, and it comes out March 2nd. I won't read the synopsis since it's even though it's a prequel, it's a second book. Beautiful cover. I'm just so excited. Publishers asked if they could send me a copy, so I can't wait to get that. I'm sure it'll take a while if it is an Australian release. Then on March 3rd, a UK release, Opie Jones and the Superhero Slug by Nat Lertima. And this is the second book in the Opie Jones series, so I won't read a synopsis. Beautiful illustrated looking series, I think. And I'm very excited to binge read both of them. March 3rd in the UK release, the second in the Jamie McFlair series, The Ultimate Brain Hack, and they're by Luke Franks and Sean Thorne. And these just look like a lot of fun. I have the first book, and they just look like quick, fun reads, and just like I'm really gonna enjoy them. March 3rd in the UK, the fourth in the Starfell series, Willow Moss and the Magic Thief, that by Dominique Valente. I've read the first book, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It was a big old book hug of a book. And I haven't read the next two, so I have them in my bedroom as part of my continuing my series. So I have them to read. So the fourth book is coming out, and so I'm very excited, and I can be all caught up. And it's just a beautiful cover, and I know since this is the UK hardback, the underneath is going to be just as beautiful. Then March 3rd, another UK release, and another second in the series. It's the Weather Weaver Adventure series, and this is A Gathering Storm by Tamsin Mori. And these just look like a lot of fun. I have the first book, and I just can't wait. They just sound amazing. I can't wait to read them. And then on March 3rd in the UK, I read the synopsis in my last most anticipated release video because that was the US edition. so I'm not going to read it again since I read it in that one. But this is a UK edition of Cameron Battle and the Hidden Kingdoms by Jamar Perry. Usually I don't do this until I know I love a series, but this edition is by a favorite illustrator, Vivian Tell. So I had to get that to support, and UK editions are usually paperbacks, so not very expensive, so I got it for a good price, and it's just beautiful, so very excited. March 3rd is a big day for UK releases. UK by Furthermore by Darren Simpson. The real world is a hostile place for 12-year-old Bryn. His school days stalked by vicious bully Sean, and his family life fractured at home. Ever since his sister Evie died in an accident, Bryn's only safe space is Furthermore, an imagined world of mechanized trees and clockwork animals where Eve is still alive. And furthermore, no one can hurt Bryn until the mysterious Featherly arrives. Now Bryn is forced to confront his deepest fears and decide if his place in the real world is worth fighting for. I'm very intrigued by this, and the steampunk type elements. Like the trees, clockwork, I love that. I'm obsessed. So I'm very excited about this. Steampunk is, I love steampunk. Also March 3rd in the UK, The Ship of Doom by M.A. Bennett. Greenwich, London, 15th of February, 1894. Luna thinks that an evening at her aunt's butterfly club sounds deathly boring, but it turns out that the meeting held in the butterfly room at the Greenwich Observatory is not at all as Luna expects. The Butterfly Club is a society with an unusual secret. They use time travel to plunder their future for wonders. Together with her friends, Constantine and Aiden, and a clockwork cuckoo, Luna boards the time train. The gang travel to 1912 and find themselves aboard a great ship traveling from Southampton to New York. They locate a man called Guglielmo Marconi and his new invention, the wireless radio. But as the ship heads into icy waters, they discover its name, the RMS Titanic. Can Luna and the boys save Marconi and his invention from the doomed ship? Can they get the radio back home to the Butterfly Club? And how will their actions change the rest of time? Okay. There's so many reasons this is one of the most highly anticipated releases. You got historical fiction like 1894 in so many different locations. So atmospheric. And then this Butterfly Club, time traveling, and a clockwork cuckoo, so a little bit of steampunk type. And then the Titanic, and then a mystery, and the Titanic. Oh, this is gonna be so good. I'm so excited, and a beautiful cover. I cannot wait for this. I've already pre-ordered it. I've pre-ordered most of these actually, except the US ones, because it's not the same like the UK, but in the US, when I pre-ordered on Amazon, I get them like a week or two after release. But if I order them the day of release, I get them the next day or the day after. How does that make any kind of sense? Anyway. Also on March 3rd in the UK, The Boy in the Post by Holly Rivers. Siblings Orinthia and Sifra Shalou accept a summer job from eccentric Grandy, who has collected a menagerie of furry and feathered posties known as animals. The children are especially fond of Geronimo, a homing pelican, but when the big bird fails to return from a delivery, Tabor, the youngest sibling, is devastated, so much so he mails himself to New York where Geronimo was sent. Orinthia and Sifra follow suit, stealing a precious stamp and hopping into a freight crate, and soon all are embarked on an extraordinary, daring, first-class adventure. I like such a unique and creative and imaginative story, and I'm very excited. And beautiful cover. Again on March 3rd in the UK, The Secrets of Splendor by Katie Cotton. 1945. War has ended, but for sisters Isabel and Flora, the struggles still continue. They've lost their father and had their home destroyed in a bombing raid, and now they must go to live with their aunt and her awful husband, Mr. Godfrey, in their ancestral home, Splint Hall. From the moment of their arrival, it seems that this is a place shrouded in mysteries and secrets. Who are the strange men who arrive with packages at night? What is the source of a strange blue sparks coming from the ground? And why do the locals seem to hate their family so much? As the girls begin to unearth the ancient myth and family secret, the adventure of a lifetime begins. One of my very top anticipated releases, like the setting at Splint Hall, in 1945, historical fiction after the war, adventure and mystery. Beautiful cover. I'm just so excited for this. Also on March 3rd in the UK, Libby and the Parisian Puzzle by Joe Clark. Mystery lover Libby is excited but nervous when she's sent to live with her aunt while her mother is working abroad. Aunt Agatha is the headmistress of an extraordinary traveling school that moves from country to country. Libby joins it in Paris, where she is just starting to find her feet when her aunt is arrested, accused of a daring jewel robbery. Can Libby and her new best friend Connie find the real thief and save her aunt? We're looking forward to this one for so long. I'm so excited it's finally coming out. It's a beautiful cover. Also on March 3rd in the UK, The Last Firefox by Lee Newberry. Between bullies at school and changes at home, Charlie Challenor finds life a bit scary. And when he's made a guardian of a furry fox cub called Cadno, things get a whole lot scarier. Because Cadno isn't just any fox, he's a fire fox, the only one of his kind, and a sinister hunt from another world is on his trail. Swept up into an unexpected adventure to protect his flammable friend, Charlie is going to need to find the bravery he never thought he had if he's going to save the last fire fox. That sounds incredible, and I'm gonna love this little fox and the beautiful cover. Very excited. Now we're finally away from March 3rd. On March 8th in the US, Those Kids from Fawn Creek by Aaron Estrada Kelly. There were 12 kids in the 7th grade at Fawn Creek Middle School. They've been together all their lives. And in the small factory town where everyone knows everything about everyone, that's not necessarily a great thing. There are 13 desks in the 7th grade classroom. That's because Rennie Dean's father got a promotion and the family moved to Graham St. Lodge, the nearest big town. Rennie's desk is empty, but Rennie still knows their secrets. It's still pulling their strings. When Orchard Mason arrives and slips gracefully into Rennie's chair, the other 7th graders don't know what to think. Orchard, who was born in New York City but just moved to Fawn Creek from Paris, seems to float. Her dress skims the floor. She's wearing a flower behind her ear. Fawn Creek might be small, but it has its tightly knit groups. The self-proclaimed God Squad, the jocks, the outsiders, just like any place does. Who would claim Orchard Mason? Who will save Orchard Mason? Or will Orchard Mason save them all? Such an intriguing synopsis. And Louisiana, even this place sounds atmospheric. It's like it's going to be atmospheric. And I've read one early middle grade story by her that I really loved. And maybe even call it a chapter book. So I'm excited to read a full middle grade novel from her. Also on March 8th in the US, In Honor of Broken Things by Paul A. Campora. At West Beacon Middle School, 8th graders Oscar Villanova, Ellie Baptist, and Noah Wright become unlikely friends during introduction to clay class. Oscar, a football star, just lost his little sister to cancer. Ellie's been dragged away from Philadelphia by her single mom to a new life in West Beacon, a tiny Pennsylvania coal town that's smaller than Ellie's old school. Noah has spent his whole life as a homeschooler and just started West Beacon Middle School as a result of his parents' train wreck of a divorce. Through art, football, failure, faith, and trust, the friends help one another to piece things back together again. And in true friendship, they also discover that some injuries may never heal, some things can never be unbroken, and that's okay too. It sounds like an important and amazing read, and I'm very interested from some synopsis along, so very excited. Also on March 8th in the US, The Ogress and the Orphan by Kelly Barnhill. I won an ARC and a giveaway on the publisher's website, so I'll be reading it very soon. It's my next in line to read after I read like The Grave Thief. I'm very excited. Stone in the Glen, once a lovely town, has fallen on hard times. Fires, floods, and other calamities have caused the people to lose their library, their school, their park, and even their neighborliness. The people put their faith in the mayor, a dazzling fellow who promises he alone can help. After all, he is a famous dragon slayer. At least no one has seen a dragon in his presence. Only the clever children of the orphan house and the kindly ogress at the edge of town can see how dire the town's problems are. But then one day a child goes missing from the orphan house. At the mayor's suggestion, all eyes turn to the ogress. The orphans know this can't be. The ogress, along with a flock of excellent crows, secretly delivers gifts to the people of Stone in the Glen. But how can the orphans tell the story of the ogress's goodness to people who refuse to listen? And how can they make their deluded neighbors see the real villain in their midst? A lot of mayors and governors are the villains in a lot of middle grade stories I'm noticing. The Girl Who Drank the Moon is a favorite of so many people's. I, unfortunately, did not love it as wholeheartedly as a lot of people. I did not like it. I enjoyed like the beginning and like the end, but the whole middle, I was just, I don't know. So I have all her other books, like The Witch's Boy, and I have Violet, and her other two, Violet, and I don't know, I'll edit in here and say what they are. I have those, I've had them forever. But the Violet one, I thought was going to be sad, something bad was going to happen. Because anytime there's like a dragon or an animal or something, I go to the back. And then when I saw that something sad happened, I didn't want to read it anymore. So I don't know. But this one sounds like something I'll really love, so I'm very excited. I can't wait to read it. So on March 8th in the US, Lady Icarus, Balloon Mania, and The Bold Life of Sophie Blanchard by Deborah Noyes. And this is a nonfiction. Before Amelia Earhart, there was Sophie Blanchard, the first woman to earn her living in the air. Why no one knows the fate of Earhart, the terrified crowd of thousands who looked on as French aeronaut Sophie Blanchard met her end in a tragic blaze of glory over the streets of Paris in 1819. But first, Blanchard made nearly 70 spectacular flights, survived a revolution, and became a court favorite of the Emperor Napoleon, who gave her the title Aeronaut of the official festivals, and later of the King of France. Set against the backdrop of history of flight, watch as balloon mania, a phenomenon that riveted all of Europe, took hold and inspired a great many artists, authors, and dreamers. A riveting middle-grade biography about Sophie Blanchard, the first woman to work as a professional aeronaut in France in the late 1700s, set against the thrilling backdrop of early flight. I've never read a middle-grade nonfiction, but this one really spoke to me. Like, it's a beautiful cover, and I've never heard of her, I don't think, and I love learning stuff about history, and this just sounds fascinating. She sounds like an amazing woman. I can't wait. On March 15th in the U.S., Area 51 Interns, Alien Summer by James S. Murray and Carson Smith. It's the first day of summer vacation, and Viv Harlow just wants to relax with her friends at the beach before they all go to different high schools next year. She is definitely not interested in visiting her mom's office, even if Director Harlow works in the famous Area 51. But when an alarm sounds beneath the secret base and a whole race of aliens escape, she's about to get much more than she bargained for. Viv, Charlotte, Ray, and Elijah, who Viv is totally not crushing on, will have to work together, gear up with gadgets, and even protect a baby alien to save the day and defend Area 51. Very excited. So excited for this. Cannot wait. Also on March 15th in the U.S., Children of the Flying City by Jason Shahan. Brought to the flying city of Highgate when he was only 5 years old, orphan Milo Quick has never known another home. Now almost 13, Milo survives one daredevil grift at a time, relying only on his wit, speed, and best friends Jules and Dagda. A massive armada has surrounded Highgate's crumbling armaments. Because behind locked doors and open-lip parlors and pneumatic forests and a master toy maker's workshop, the once great flying city protects a powerful secret hidden away for centuries. A secret that's about to ignite a war. One small airship, the Halcyon, has slipped through the ominous blockade on a mission to collect Milo and the rich bounty on his head before the fighting begins. But the members of the Halcyon's misfit crew aren't the only ones chasing Milo Quick. This is a very, very highly anticipated release. Beautiful cover. I cannot wait for this. I'm so intrigued and cannot wait. Then on March 17th in the UK, the third book in the Orphans of the Tide series, Eternity Engine by Struan Murray. I think this is the third and final one. This is a favorite series, so I'm very excited to see how it wraps up and just cannot wait. Beautiful cover. Very excited. And on March 17th in the UK, the Dragon Realm series, I think this is the fourth book. This is Dragon Rising by Katie and Kevin Sang. Very excited to just binge read this whole series, and it just looks right up my alley. Beautiful covers. Also on March 17th in the UK, Yesterday Crumb and the Storm in a Teacup by Andy Sagar. Yesterday Crumb is no ordinary girl. She was born with fox ears that have cursed her to a lonely life working in the circus, and her origins are a complete mystery. But she is about to escape into the adventure of a lifetime when she learns that she's a strangeling who's lost her magic. Taken in by Miss Dumpling, the flamboyant tea witch, Yesterday is introduced to a magical walking tea shop filled with fantastical customers, a flying teapot turtle called Pascal, and powerful spells in every teacup. Yesterday starts to rediscover her magic and to feel a sense of belonging. A mysterious figure of darkness is working hard to ensure her new life comes crashing down, and it all starts with a deadly shard of ice in Yesterday's heart. But there's nothing that can be solved with a pot of tea and a slice of cake and a big dash of magic. So excited about this. That synopsis sounds incredible alone, and then the cover is beautiful. Cannot wait. And on March 22nd in the U.S., Louisa Jones and the Nazis in the Waves by L.M. Elliott. Days after Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, Hitler declared war on the U.S., unleashing U-boat submarines to attack American ships. Suddenly, the waves outside Louisa June's farm aren't free-will fishing or marveling at wild swans or learning to scull her family's boat. They're dangerous, swarming with hidden enemies. Her oldest brother's ships risk coming face to face with U-boats. Her sister leaves home to weld Liberty boat hulls. And then her daddy, a tugboat captain, and her dearest brother Butler are caught in the crossfire. Phew, I'm already about to cry. Her mama has always swum in a sea of melancholy, but now she really needs Louisa June to find moments of beauty or inspiration to buoy her. Like Sunshine Yellow Daffodils, good books, or new accounts of daring rescues of torpedoed passengers. Determined to help her mama and aching to combat Nazis herself, Louisa June turns to her quirky friend Emmett and the indomitable cousin Belle, who has her own war stories and a herd of cats to share. In the end, after a perilous sail, Louisa June learns the greatest lifeline is love. In this moving and timeless story, L.M. Elliott captures life on the U.S. home front during World War II, leaving a rich portrait of a family reeling from loss and the chilling and hopeful voyage of fighting for what matters. Perfect for the war fans of the war that saved my life. I get so emotional about World War II. And then with everything going on right now and what was said and bringing the Holocaust into it and even comparing such a thing, that man, Russia and the Ukraine is just evil. Anyway, March 22nd in the U.S. also. Field Guide to the Supernatural Universe by Allison Noel. When he first started seeing ghosts, Max mistakenly assumed everyone else could see them too. Now, after years of being blamed for the pranks of mischievous spirits, Max is determined to do whatever it takes to make himself normal. But when he's sent to spend the summer with his eccentric grandfather, Ramhart, being normal becomes impossible. Here in Glimmerville, bakeries sell enchanted pies. Yay. The lake is infested with mermaids, the town's beloved ghosts roam free, and Ramhart himself is celebrated as the world's most famous monster hunter. At first, all Max wants is to survive the summer, but the more time he spends in Glimmerville, the more he starts to wonder if he's finally found a place where he can truly be himself. When a supernatural attack steals Ramhart's soul, Max, with the help of a few new friends, must go on a quest to find his grandfather's renowned field guide, an enchanted book that contains all the knowledge Ramhart has gathered about defeating unearthly nemesis. And if they don't find the book fast, Glimmerville will crumble into chaos, and Max will lose the only person who's ever made him feel at home. This town is so atmospheric and amazing, an enchanted book, all these creatures, magic. I'm so excited. I'm very highly anticipated release. Beautiful cover. March 22nd in the U.S. Swan Lake Quest for the Kingdoms by Ray Tesserio. It looks like it says it's a reimagining. It says Frozen meets the Wizard of Oz in a swashbuckling adventure perfect for fans of Amulet and the OK Witch from the acclaimed author of Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. Hey, this is a graphic novel too. Odette and Dilly are supposed to be enemies. Their kingdoms have been feuding since before they were born. But when the two princesses meet each other at the lake that separates their castles, it's clear they were destined to be best friends. Odette, who lives with the curse that magically transforms her into a swan when the sun rises, is happy to find someone who treats her like everyone else. And Dilly has finally met someone who understands her dreams of having an adventure instead of sitting on a throne. When they discover that Odette's curse is the reason for tension between their families, they decide to follow on an ancient legend that could lead them to someone who can set everything right. As they travel through enchanted lands, meet new allies, and fight terrible foes, Odette and Dilly are put to the ultimate test. But when the time comes, will they choose their deepest wishes or the fragile fate of their world? Sounds incredible. Beautiful cover and art. Can't wait. Also on March 22nd in the U.S., Healer and Witch by Nancy Werlin. Nancy Werlin's first story for middle grade readers tackles and transcends traditional fantasy tropes. Can a young woman gifted with magic learn to manage her powers and claim her strength without violence? Sylvie and her mother and grandmother are beloved, trusted healers in their medieval French village, though some whisper that 15-year-old Sylvie and her grandmère deal in more than herbs and medicines. Perhaps they're a bit witchy? After her grandmother dies, and in an attempt to use magic to heal her mother's grief Brooke's tragic consequences, Sylvie leaves her village in search of a teacher. The journey subjects her to strange alliances, powerful temptations, danger, and deceit. In the end, there may be only one wise woman Sylvie can trust in a world that would define her limits, herself. 15, it says it's middle grade, so I'm assuming upper middle grade. It just sounds incredible. Beautiful cover. So intrigued by this one. Cannot wait. Next on March 22nd in the U.S. is Alias Anna by Susan Hood with Greg Davison. This is a nonfiction. She wouldn't be Sahana. She'd use an alias. A for Anna. A for alive. When the Germans invade Ukraine, Sahana, a young Jewish girl, must leave behind her friends, her freedom, and her promising musical future at the world's top conservatory. With no time to say goodbye, Sahana, her sister Frina, and their entire family are removed from their home by the Nazis and forced on a long, cold death march. When a guard turns a blind eye, Sahana flees with nothing more than her musical talent, her beloved sheet music, and her father's final plea. I don't care what you do. Just live. The incredible true story in verse about sisterhood, survival, and music is perfect for fans of Light Book 12, Inside, Out, and Back Again, and Alan Gratz. Includes extensive back matter with original letters and photographs, additional information, and materials for further reading. The moving true story of how a young Ukrainian Jewish piano prodigy, I can't say that right, Sahana, alias Anna, and her sister Frina outplay their pursuers while hiding in plain sight during the Holocaust. A middle grade nonfiction novel in verse by award-winning author Susan Hood with Greg Dawson. Sahana's son. Oh, wow. So it is a nonfiction in verse and a Ukrainian Jewish. Yeah, that just makes it even more, especially with what's going on right now. It's like crazy timing, but important. So important not to forget history, and this is exactly why history will repeat itself. And I'm very excited for this. So Also on March 22nd in the U.S., Sir Fig Newton and the Science of Persistence by Sanja Thomas. 12-year-old Mara's summer is looking pretty bleak. Her best friend Thomas just moved 1,000,001 miles away from Florida to Washington, D.C. Her dad is job searching and he's been super down lately. Her phone screen cracked after a home science experiment gone wrong. And of all people who could have moved into Thomas's old house down the street, Mara gets stuck with Tamika Smith, her know-it-all nemesis who kept Myra in second place at school science fair 4 years running. Mara's beloved cat, Sir Fig Newton, has been the most stable thing in her life lately, but now he seems off too. With her phone gone and no internet over the weekend at her strict grand's house, Mara must research Fig's symptoms the old-fashioned way at the library. She's determined that he has the silent cat killer diabetes. A visit to the vet confirms her diagnosis, but that one appointment stretched family funds to the limit. They'll never be able to afford cat insulin shots. When Myra's parents tell her they may have to give Fig up to people who can afford his treatment, Mara insists she can earn the $2,000 needed within a month. Armed with ingenuity, determination, and one surprising act, can Mara save her best four-legged friend before it's too late? Sounds incredible, unique, very intrigued by it. I'm hoping the cat will be okay. Beautiful cover. Also on March 22nd in the U.S., Just a Girl by Leah Levy. 1938, Italy. 6-year-old Leah loves to build sandcastles at the beach, and her biggest problem is her shyness and quiet bird-like voice. Until Prime Minister Mussolini joins forces with Hitler in World War II, and everything changes. Now there are laws saying Jewish children can't go to school, Jews can't work, or go on vacation. It's difficult for Leah to understand. I don't know what's happening to me. Why this is happening to her family. When her father loses his job, they must give up their home and move from city to city. As war comes closer, it becomes too dangerous to stay together, and Leah and her sisters are sent to hide at a convent. Will she ever be just a girl again? There's a lot of stories that are going to make me cry this month. The memoir is full of poignant moments of friendship and loss, dreaded tests at school, told in Leah's captivating voice as she grows into a young teen. Just a Girl is an important addition to the World War II Jewish. In this award-winning memoir, translated from Italian to English, a Jewish girl grows up during a difficult time of racial discrimination and war and discovers light in unexpected places. This classic, powerful story from Leah Levy is adapted for young readers with beautiful black and white illustrations, a family photo album, and a powerful author's note to readers. I'm sure that author's note will make me cry. Very excited for this. On March 29th in the U.S., Storm by Nicola Skinner. This came out in the UK first, I think, and I'm glad I waited. Was it the UK or was it Australia? I think it was always so expensive, and that's why I hadn't got it yet. But I'm glad. I love that cover, but this one is just so much more up my alley. This is just stunning. Frances, you can call her Frankie, was not a happy baby. She was born in Miss Chaos to two loving but unprepared parents on a beach in a storm. No wonder she's always had a temper. And you know what did nothing to quell her anger? Dying dramatically in a freak natural disaster that wiped out her whole town. As a ghost, it's not so easy for Frankie to hide her rage, especially when suspicious visitors to her ruined home seem to have a keen and ominous interest in her. But when you are born with a storm inside you, sometimes the only way to calm it is to finally let it out. This sounds right up my alley. And this cover, I think, really matches the way the story sounds, so I'm very excited. Coming back in, I forgot one, so I'm coming in a little bit later to edit one in here. On March 29th, a U.S. release, the first in the Unraveled series by Kathy O'Neill, and it's The Princess Revolt. Cia Anderson hasn't slept in 10 days, but she doesn't feel one bit tired. She knows that something is up, even if no one but her best friend believes her. Hundreds of pairs of shoes have appeared in her locker. Small woodland animals are trailing her. And the only boy she's ever had a crush on has been quarantined with a mysterious illness. There's even talk of closing her middle school. Something strange is going on. Cia discovers that she has accidentally upset some fairy tale characters who are trying to find their happily ever afters in the modern world. Just desperate to set things right, Cia enlists the help of Cinderella's stepsister, gets kidnapped by Snow White's dwarves, and makes a deal that she might regret with the evil queen, all while trying to stay one step ahead of the furious princesses who want her dead. Turns out there's nothing meaner than a fairy tale character who can't find her Prince Charming. That sounds incredible. That just sounds superb. I'm just so happy. Oh, meaner than what? Can't find their prince. That sounds about right. So I'm very excited for this, and the cover's beautiful. I cannot wait. So excited. On March 31st in the UK, this is the third book in the series. I don't know if it's going to be the last or if there'll be more. The Boy Who Hatched Monsters by T.C. Shelley. I've read the first two books and absolutely love them, and I've been looking forward to this one for so long. I'm glad it's finally coming out. I can't wait to see what happens next. highly recommend the first 2 books and can't wait for this 3rd one. And March 31st in the UK, Frankie Best Hates Quest by Chris Smith. Frankie Best is not happy. She's stuck at Granddad's with her annoyingly nerdy brother Joel for a whole week while her parents swan off to the Arctic. Things take a turn for the worse when Granddad gets kidnapped by Noblins. No, that is not spelled incorrectly. Forcing Frankie to embark on a rescue mission across a magical realm filled with strange creatures, dangerous enemies, and worst of all, absolutely no Wi-Fi. Frankie did have big plans to watch YouTube and eat pot noodles that weekend, but it looks like she'll just have to go on an epic, mega dangerous quest instead. I think he was a co-author of The Great Dream Robbery, which I loved, and so I'm excited to see a book that he wrote all by himself, and it sounds incredible. Also on March 31st in the UK, Dreadwood by Jennifer Killick. It's basically the worst school detention ever. When classmates, but not mate-mates, Hallie, Angelo, Gustav, and Mayara are forced to come to school on a Saturday, they think things can't get much worse, but they're wrong. Things are about to get seriously scary. What has dragged their teachers underground? Why do the creepy caretakers keep humming the tune to Itsy Bitsy Spider? Okay, that's creepy. And what horrors lurk in the shadows, getting stronger and meaner every minute? Cut off from help and in danger each time they touch the ground, the gang's only hope is to work together. But it's no coincidence that they're all there on detention. Someone has been watching and plotting and is out for revenge. I loved the first 2 books in Crater Lake. I don't know if there will be more of that one, but I love those. So this is a very highly anticipated release because I love this book. Also on March 31st in the UK, The Thief Who Sang Storms by Sophie Anderson. The island of Morovia is shaped like a broken heart. The humans live on one side of the island and the Alkanos, the bird people, live on the other. But it wasn't always this way. Lynette wishes she could sing magic like her father, a nightingale, and bring the 2 sides of her island together again. For her land has been divided by a terrible tragedy, and Lynette has been banished with her father to the deepest swamps, leaving behind her best friends, Hero and Silver. So when her father is captured, Lynette must be brave and embark on a treacherous journey. Through alligator pools and sinking sands, she finds her new friends. Yet without her singing magic, Lynette discovers something even more powerful, something that could save her father and heal the broken heart of her island once more. Beautiful cover. This sounds so great. Her last book was my favorite by her. A lot of people love The House with Chicken Legs. I love the story and the writing, but the main character annoyed me very much. She was just, I don't know if it's because in the South you respect your elders, and the way she talks to Baba Yaga she's just so, I don't know, she annoyed me and I did not like her, but the story and everything else I loved. And then her second book I liked a lot more, but her last one was my favorite, and this one sounds incredible. And then lastly on March 31st in the UK, The Secret of the Treasure Keepers by A.M. Howell. February 1948. Ruth has been whisked off to lonely Rook Farm to investigate the discovery of long-buried treasure with her mother. But at the farmhouse, she finds secrets lurk around every corner. Joe, the farmer's son, is hiding something about the treasure, while land girl Audrey watches their every move. But before Ruth can find out more, the treasure is stolen. With a storm coming, Ruth first races to uncover the secrets of the treasure keepers before all of their lives are changed forever. Author of The Garden of Lost Secrets and The House of 100 Clocks, which I've both read and I love them. I have her latest book before this one that I still need to read, but those 2 I absolutely loved. Comes a brand new, thrilling historical mystery of stolen treasure, friendship, and deep courage set in the immediate aftermath of the Second World War. Another one of those, but it's after the war. Historical fiction, mystery. She's really great at mystery and historical fiction, and cannot wait. Okay, that's finally it. This is gonna be such a long video. There's just so many great books coming out. Did you see any that you didn't know about that you're excited about, or some of your anticipated releases in here? Let me know in the comments. And I hope you enjoy the video. Oh, today's shirt, of course, Belle, but like the tattooed Belle, because I'm tattooed. I think I have 12, 13, I don't remember. But, so, I had to get the tattooed Belle. And if you would like to subscribe, I would love that if you would like to. And I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.